Yes, it's me. It's me. It's the MIC Craig, aka Mr. Impact, back with another episode of TBN Chats right here on the TNAIW channel. It's my pleasure to introduce my guest for this TBN Chats, star of the UK independent scene. It's Rhio. Thank you for coming on.
How are you
How's it
okay?
going?
Oh, it's good,
I'm
thank you. Yeah, I'm really good. How are you?
yeah, all good. Just say thanks for coming on because I know I've been trying to get this going for quite some time, and it's finally happening. And then obviously you're a very busy person, so I appreciate making the time. So I believe you have progress this weekend. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, we're gonna actually on the way down there tonight. So after this, we're gonna drive down, and then we're like down there ready for tomorrow. Then, so instead of like a 4 a.m. drive tomorrow, which I just didn't really want, I weren't
Nah.
feeling that one. So I thought, do you know what? We'll go down tonight. Just makes it easier. We're in London ready then, because it's gonna be me and Tonga. So coming down together, and you know, it's just for us, it's just easier if we go down the night before, then we're not having to worry about any traffic or rush hours or anything like that, in an area that you don't really know. So for us, it
Yeah,
makes it 10 times easier if we go down tonight and then we're just there ready.
yeah, I can. Yeah, I can't travel to London on train is bad enough. I can imagine what it's like driving on there. So
Horrendous.
yeah, I can only imagine. So let's get started. And I'm curious to know how you first discovered resting, like, like how old you were, and whether it be on TV or someone telling you about it. And was there, once you started watching as a fan, was there one wrestler or a few people who you saw and thought, yeah, okay, I want to watch this because of them?
So I'd say like it was around like I was 9 or 10, and my dad had it on one morning, and I'd never seen it at that point. So I thought like I'd just sit and watch it with him. And then I just from there I was like instantly hooked with it. Like I just loved it from the second I started watching it. So for me it was pretty much instant that that is something I wanted to do, because I've always been involved in sports throughout my life. Did a lot of different sports, so it's like the athletic kind of point of it was the bit I enjoyed the most. But then obviously like the larger than life characters and how everything all came about, the storytelling of it at the time, that all like drew me in. I think at the time I was watching it, I would say, like, because I'd never seen any wrestling before that, so I didn't know about the indies, and I'd never seen any like WWE, WWF, anything like that before that moment. So I think at the time it was kind of like a Beth Phoenix era. That was the
Yeah.
person, because I think because she just looked so different to everyone else, because there was all the girls, and they had the really, really slimmed down physiques. And even though she's slim, she's still quite muscular. So for me, I was like, oh, like she looks different. And just the fact that she just destroyed everyone, it was like, for me to watch that, I was like, oh, yeah, like that's someone that I'd like to, wrestle in my own head as a child, thinking, oh, I'd like to be like her. And then obviously now I'd love to wrestle her if she's wrestling. I feel like that'd be well sick.
Yeah, I mean, especially during that time with WWE, the women's division they had then, Beth Phoenix really stood out as someone who could go in any era. I mean, only these second or third woman at the time to ever be in the men's Royal Rumble, and
Yes.
having an impact on that. So I can, yeah, it's clear the impact Beth Phoenix had then and even now. She recently competed, and she's still as good as ever, and obviously a Hall of Famer. So she definitely had a major impact, and it's clear to see, especially in wrestling today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like it was like herself, and then obviously from seeing Beth Phoenix, and like the older I got and stuff, and the more into wrestling I got, then I started to find like China and stuff like that. So then I was like, okay, this is like a whole new thing. Then I'd go across like Japanese wrestling. I'd love to watch like the Bull Nakano matches that she had and stuff like that. So it did kind of go into this span then of all these women that I thought, oh, do you know what? You could put them in with the men, and you don't look at it as a man versus a woman. You look at it as a wrestler versus a wrestler, because they were just so powerful at the time, and they just carried it so well. that each of them in their separate kind of, you know, in their separate times just carried their strength and everything that they were so well. So for me, I was like, that was it. Because I remember watching Beth Phoenix, and I think it was around the time she was doing the story with Santino Marella. I think that was it. So
yeah,
I enjoyed that. That was like, so I was just, I just found that so funny. So for me, that was the start of like looking into, oh, you know, some of these women can actually get in there with the men, and it's not an awkward thing. I think some people do find intergender wrestling quite an awkward one, or they're not wanting to, you know, they're not sure on it. And I think them kind of women are the ones that are like, just throw me in kind of thing.
yeah. Intergender wrestling, especially in the last 5-6 years, has really taken off, and it's just seen as wrestling now. I know there's still a few people who see it as a negative thing, but when you look at, especially in Brit Rest at the minute, you have so many incredible women, and they're just as good, as not better, as some of the men, and they can go with the men.
Yeah,
and that wasn't a thing years ago, but now it's really taken off.
Yeah, it's nice to see as well. But I think especially at the minute, like say with Brit Rest, the changes that, like, I feel like the women are just bringing it at the minute from every part of the UK and Ireland. I think like the women are really just coming at the lads, because we're all good in for each other. Obviously, we all want the championships at each promotion and whatever. But I think like even when you're training with the lads now, like when I train with some of the lads, you can tell they're like, as soon as you hit them, they're like, Jesus Christ. They just don't. I think they don't expect it. You know what I mean? They don't expect us to hit them that hard, but it's what we need to do. You know, we need to hit harder. I think hit harder than the men. I think that's the thing that we need to do. So I think that's what we're doing, and that's why the transition to intergender wrestling for some people has been easier.
Yeah.
Because we're then now saying, come on, like, show us what you've got. It's not us showing, like, you know, us showing them what we've got. We're saying, bring it, you know, if you want. Because I think having like open gender belts or an open weight belts, like just a general, it is just a championship. There's no kind of sections to it. There's no categories. Them kind of championships are the ones that are like pushing people to then just, you know, like say just like champions are doing open challenges, and you just never know who's going to step up. And I think that's quite an exciting thing, is that, you know, you've got like these women that are holding championships like that, and they're just saying, bring it, man, woman, doesn't matter. No matter what you identify as or where you're from, just bring it. So it's always, yeah, that's super fun to see.
Yeah, it is definitely an open door policy for any title, and it's really taken off in Brit Rest. I mean, recently I had the opportunity, and I didn't know you were there, but I at Kamikaze in the Rumble. Kamikaze for Rumble.
Yeah.
I saw it. Yeah, I had no clue, and it was an incredible moment, because in that Rumble we had so many like just great wrestlers in that Rumble, and the reaction you got was like really good, really positive, and then because it's obviously you've taken off in such a way now where people are starting to see on the card and think, oh, okay, I need to go to that show. I need to go to that show. And it and in another case for me, the first show back from lockdown I went to was Catch, the second Catch for the Catch Women's Championship, and so I saw your name appear on the card and thought, okay, yeah, it's got to be good. It's got to be worth going down to Manchester for that trip, and then started adding more and more to it. So, and I particularly remember your match against Heidi Katrina, which I watched this morning, and obviously the very inventive chant from the crowd about your hair.
Yeah, there's a few different inventive ones they've got for me.
Yeah. It's always
nice to see, though. It's nice that people put that kind of effort in. You know, people care enough to make a chant and you know, to sing it as loud and proud as they do. So it's nice that people care that much. You know.
Yeah, great to see. And on Catch, and come back from the first lockdown or the lockdowns, and so what would you say? Did you feel there was much of a difference in the pre-COVID shows to the post-COVID shows in terms of feeling backstage, or would you say it was much of a difference in terms of, obviously, hygiene and like social distancing, stuff like that. Would you say it impacted much in the British wrestling scene from post to pre to post COVID?
I wouldn't have said so. No, I think it was, everyone was all right with it. Every promotion followed the guidelines that needed to be followed and ensured that everything was there for, like hygiene wise and like say social distancing and testing and things like that. So all of those things were in place. So I think anyone who was wrestling felt safe enough to do it, and that everyone that was wrestling had agreed that they knew the kind of risks. Obviously, even though you can social distance like backstage and in the locker rooms and stuff, obviously when you're wrestling someone there's not much room for social distancing. So I think because we already trust each other so much when we're in there anyway, because wrestling is built on us having to be able to trust one another, I think it wasn't really a hard transition for anyone, because we already knew, we get in there with each other weekend after weekend, and you have that trust and that bond built with a lot of people, so you just know that they've got you and you've got them. So that, I think that made it easier. And like, I think everyone was aware. I think there's so many forms of communication as well, like the emails were coming out just to say if anyone feels uncomfortable, there's this here and this present, and please raise anything now. And a lot of promoters were saying, is everything okay, is there anything we can do to make people feel more comfortable or more safe and things like that. So I think everyone played the part that they had to do. So I think for me personally, I didn't see any difference really, other than obviously testing and all those things, but I don't feel like it made a massive impact.
No. It's when I obviously been in the crowd, it didn't feel that as much of a change. Obviously, more people more aware of distancing and wearing face masks. So imagine there wasn't much of a massive difference. So and obviously rest is still going strong and probably has come off stronger from the lockdowns. It really doesn't fire. I mean, especially with companies like Progress working together with companies like TNT, and also you have Catch working with anyone. So would you say it's more, obviously the big term at the minute is the forbidden door? You say in Brit Wrest there's always been that forbidden door, but not to this extent, with different companies' championships being defended on different companies' shows. Would you say this it's become more of a thing now, or has it always kind of been there?
Do you know what? I think it's more of a thing now. I think a lot of the promoters are trying to work together and form that relationship amongst themselves to not run on the same days, because at the end of the day, if there's that many promotions running on the same weekend, you can have whichever wrestlers you want, but it doesn't do the shows any favors if there's 10 shows on one Saturday, because as good as that is, can we not space them out? Like when you're not running shows, let the next show run theirs and things like that, just so then it all fills up more. So the promotions aren't losing out. It's not like there's like 2 people in the crowd at this one and 2 people at this one. The bigger the crowds, and like, it would make it easier for me, I would say. I think if like promoters do what they are doing now, which is talking to each other, talking to each other about trying not to run on the same days, trying not to have so many shows on the same day. Obviously it can't be avoided, there's only so many weekends in a year, but at one point I feel like it was just a case of there were so many shows on like one Saturday or one Friday, and I mean, it's good that fans are spoilt for choice. I think that's always a good thing, but becomes a point where I think it can be more of a damaging thing than a good thing. So I think now, I don't know if it is like the impact of COVID or not, but I do think now it's like they are talking to each other. There doesn't seem to be as many clashes with other ones in particular, either maybe closer to them or just like having, like, say, like 8 on one day. And I think they're just realizing that it's okay to promote each other as well as themselves. I get as a brand, like as a promotion, they are their own brand and they want to succeed, and other promotions are competition. But it's only similar to wrestlers, there's only so many spots on shows, so we are all in competition with each other. But at the same time, that you've got to be able to think, if I can promote someone, it brings everyone up. So for me, like as a wrestler's point of view, I promote other female wrestlers in particular, obviously with them, with me fighting, say, more for their spots than any of the lads, but I'll happily promote other female wrestlers because if we can all bring each other up together and make the Brit Rest scene like what it is like now, like you say, it's strong now. That's what we want. So if the promotions can do the same thing and build up strong promotions and strong relationships, it can only benefit the scene, I think. So having, say, like I'm defending my title, women's championship at Catch, that does title and Catch the world of good because they're both promoting each other. Title are mentioning it at their shows, and Catch are mentioning it on their shows and their social medias, and then they're both getting exposure. So why not? I think it is a good thing. I think it's something that should be done more, and hopefully over time it is something that will be done more, kind of more crossing over of promotions and things like that.
Yeah, like I said, it can only do good things for wrestling companies, wrestlers, and wrestling fans. It's only a good thing for everyone, and it's particularly in wrestling. Yeah, particularly in wrestling right now, it's so open. Anyone can show up anywhere on any show, and so you look to Mickie James in the Women's Royal Rumble this year as the Impact Knockouts champion, or the AEW Impact stuff with Christian, Kenny Omega, or so much. And speaking on that, do you find yourself with much time to watch the TV companies?
Do you know what, at the minute I've not had too much time, if I'm honest, but I do try and watch as much as I can because I do like even wrestling. I do still love wrestling as a fan myself.
Yeah.
So I am still a fan of other wrestling, and for me, I'm one of those. I just love all wrestling. I'll watch WWE, I'll watch AEW, I'll watch Impact, I'll watch New Japan, I'll watch Stardom, I watch obviously the Brit Rest scene, and I would say I don't get to see as much independence from other countries like America and stuff. I would say that if any independence, it's always kind of more the UK, and then like I say a bit of Japan because I've always been a fan of Stardom, so I'd watch that more. So anything that they've got going on. But if I had more time, I'd happily watch all the independents from everywhere. I think just watching as much wrestling as possible would be the ideal situation. But I do try and keep up with them.
Yeah, it's I say as a fan, it's very difficult. I can imagine what it's like as a wrestler trying to keep up with every promotion going right now. You have that many, which is obviously a great thing because of the variety of everything you have. But as a wrestler, when you have to go to certain shows on this certain day, and when there's a major pay-per-view on, so you don't get to see that until maybe later on, or you get to see clips of it on social media. I can imagine what it's like having to try and keep up with everything that's going on right now in wrestling, because it's one of the most unpredictable times wrestling has gone through.
It is, yeah. It is one of those when you think, like sometimes I'll speak to like my friends about like other wrestlers about it, and it's weird to think that before COVID, every weekend you were busy. Like you was either busy the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday, or 3 or 2 or whatever it was. Every weekend there was something wrestling orientated, and then the lockdown come and just like completely wiped it away. And I think like majority of wrestlers are kind of just sat there like, what do we do now then? What do people do with the weekends? Like if we're not wrestling, what does the average person do? Like what and we couldn't even go to the gym, could we? So it's like really, I think a lot of wrestlers, if they've got free time, will then go to the gym, but there was no gym. So then we was like, oh, now what do we do? What is there to do? But thankfully, I think the first lockdown were all right, at least with the sun, so people could go out and spend more time with their families than they'd usually be at shows. So it was nice to get that quality time with families. But I think the first lockdown I enjoyed, and you can rest your body because they never get rest, whether it be the gym and wrestling and everything. But then as it got to the second, that's when I started getting a bit jittery about the whole situation. I was like, come on, let's get wrestling back now. I've had enough of these weekends off. I didn't think I'd say it, but I have had enough. I want to get back into it.
Yeah, it's one of the most it's times of the last 3 years which have been, I mean, beyond words. The last three years, so it's just been a crazy time for everyone. But I want to take you back a little bit before all this COVID stuff, for that, and I remember tuning in on Dave for episode of Judge Ramesh, and then you pop up, which was definitely a surprise. Did not see that coming. What was that like? And like, would you say, what kind of an impact would you say that had on your career and getting booked? Was it really, really positive? I imagine it was, but can I get your take on it?
So the experience itself was like a really odd thing. Like it's just one of those you just think, what am I doing? What am I actually doing now? Like, why is wrestling on a random, show, like say on Dave? Like, why are wrestlers doing this here? But wrestling can get you into those things where you just think, I don't know what this is, but you just roll with it. But the experience was fun though. Like I say, it was a good experience. But I don't really feel like it changed my bookings so much. Like I don't feel like I'm massively gained bookings from that. And I don't know if it's because of I don't know if a lot of people watched the Judge Ramesh show. I'm not sure if like a lot of people kind of knew about it at the time and stuff. So we shared it as much as we could, but for me, yeah, I think mine pretty much stayed the same, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, there wasn't a major change at all that I could say I noticed. So, yeah, no, for me, didn't really seem to make a difference at all.
No, that's see, wrestling in the mainstream is an important thing, but even on that show, you're the title women's champion, and you're still the title women's champion, 3-time title women's champion. So obviously, you're on the current champion. Is there any promotions out there that you're looking at, whether it be abroad or over here in the UK? Any championships that or any wrestlers essentially that you want to face in, whether it be abroad or over here in the UK?
Yeah, I think championship wise, I'm still on, even though I am the title women's champion, I'm on the hunt for the catch one off Lizzie. So that is one of my goals, is to get that from her. So hopefully that is sooner rather than later. But while I've got Ivy nipping at my heels, I think I'm gonna have to just drop that for a minute and just fend her off first. Keep the title one, then when she's gone to the back of the queue again, then I'll continue the hunt on Lizzie for that. I think there's that one in particular, and the ICW one from Angel Hayes. I'd love to have that one as well, and I'd love to have the Progress one from Giselle. So just a few people that I'd love to take the championships from. But promotions wise, I think OTT's one that I'd like to do. So that's one that I'd be looking, that I've not done, and I'd be looking to get into. So I'll work towards that, because from looking at it, like they just had is it a Scrapomania? So that looked like it was something. And I think Debbie Keitel and Emerson Jane, I think they just tore the house down with their match. So that is definitely somewhere that I would like to go. I think of other promotions. I've gone blank now. Let me think of anywhere else. Anything close to home, I'd always like, especially like the Northwest. I'd always love to get get all of theirs together. So TNT, take that one off Alexis Falcon. Like I say, the catch one off Lizzie. Go on, why not? I'll take the Future Shot one off Tonga. Just all of them, all of the promotions, all of the belts. That's what I want.
Go into a belt collector mode.
That's it. That's the plan.
Well, why not? There's plenty of opportunities, plenty of companies and championships out there. So, I mean, why not?
That's it. You gotta go for it, aren't you?
Yeah, you gotta take whatever opportunities you can get. Obviously, I want to be respectful of your time. I want to, for those who aren't aware of what we're doing currently, if you could pick 1 or 2 matches that you've had to recommend to people to go and check out, to show them what you're all about and what you can do. And it's probably difficult to choose just 1 or 2, but what would you choose if you just recommend it to people?
Ooh. Yeah, that is a tough one. I'd probably say the first match for the Catch Women's Championship against Lizzie, can't remember the actual one. I think it's Catch 4. I think that show was, because I know they do like the Monday night ones, but I think it's 4. So I'd definitely say that one. That one, my match with Emerson at Wrestle Carnival against Emerson Jane. My final tournament round against Alex Windsor at Resurgence. What else? Oh, there's me and Casey at ICW Fear and Loathing. That one's nice. That one's up there as well, with one of the ones that I would say. And then I had a no DQ match with Ivy at Tidal. So that one definitely. Well, a no contest one, I think it was. In the end, it ended in a no contest. But it was a Falls Count anyway. Last one standing. I can't really remember.
Right.
Too busy getting thrown into walls and trying to avoid a bat getting swung at my face. So, but yeah, there was a match with Ivy at Tidal. So that one as well.
I think, obviously, like I said, I was there for the for the Catch women's title tournament, and it was an incredible show with the people on that card, and obviously all 4 of you in the main event just killed it.
Thank you.
It sent people home not so happy in the fact that Lizzie won just by the crowd reaction, but it was still a very good match. It was quite the reaction there. We had Lizzie on for the very first TBN chats, and so we talked about that a bit more. And so it was an interesting reaction. But I think that show, come back from lockdown, was just great. And like I said, everyone on that card, and particularly the main event, just blew it away. Such a great match. So I guess let you get back to the long drive to London. I just want to say thank you.
No worries.
Thank you for coming on. It's glad we can get this in the books. Glad we can go in more. I'm trying to get more attention on Brit Rest through this channel, and you've definitely someone that's been on the list for some time since we started it. So thank you. I want to let everyone know where they can find you and see any upcoming shows or wherever they can find you from. Go ahead and let people know.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. And thank you for being so patient with me. I know you have been trying to get this sorted for a while, and it's constantly saying, yeah, I'll come back to you. And I'm not really the best at responding on emails, so I do apologise about that. So thank you for being persistent with it. But yeah, if anyone does, I've got Instagram, which is Rhio_wrestler, and my Twitter is Rhio2020. I do have a Facebook page, but I don't really use that as much anymore. I'd say it's more Instagram and Twitter. Right.
There you go. You can find it. We'll post a link to the Catch show in the description, because go and check out Rheo's match with Heidi Katrina and the main event, of course. And the entire show was just solid. So thank everyone for watching. You can follow us here, there, and everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Sounder, Spotify, wherever else you podcast. You can catch myself and Nixon every single Thursday on YouTube at 9 p.m. UK time. Catch Jeff and Max on the Mothership at 1 a.m. on Twitch. And until next time, goodbye, my friends.